last week. People sent me that last week's sermon was brutal. So today's sermon will be soft landing. So I won't be that hard. Today we'll be talking about something that is a bit softer, a bit chill out. It's called Financial Capacity Part 2. I rushed through part 1 and God told me, no, before you start another subject, and next week is Pentecost Sunday. It says, before you pick up another, you need to finish this. So we're on Financial Capacity Part 2. And God told me that let's do it first and then we'll take communion afterwards. Financial capacity for individuals, as I said last week, it refers to your ability to be able to manage your personal financial responsibility. Listen to me. We cannot have expansion unless we are responsible. Unless we understand budgeting, we understand saving, we understand investing, we understand paying our debt. You owe money. Stop putting those envelopes under your pillow. Stop putting it under in a drawer, and stop getting that envelope and lifting it up to heaven and saying, divine, divine. No, guys. Honestly, you got there not by God's divine intervention. You got there by yourself. Increasing your financial capacity is not just about how much money you have, but it is how well we manage what God has given us. God cares about stewardship and what we do with what he has entrusted in our hands. God trusted in our hands. So Jesus was so concerned about money that he made and he gave an example of how the kingdom of God is. I told you there's a difference between the person of Jesus and the principles of Jesus. And Jesus was so concerned that in Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30, let's quickly do this. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to the other, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in the proportion to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. Verse 19. And after a long time, the master returned from the trip and called them to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant of whom he had entrusted 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest, and I've earned 5 more. He says, the master was full of praise. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. You've been faithful in handling what? A big amount or what? A small amount. He says, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. The servant who had received 2 bags of silver came forward and said, Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 2 more. The master said, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling what? This small amount. So now I will give you many more responsibility. Let's celebrate together. The servant with 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops. You didn't plant, gathering crops. You didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back. But the master replied, you wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I had harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, take the money from the servant, give it to the one who has 10 bags of silver. To those who use well, this is where we're going. Everybody, let's read together. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given. and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, you cannot, hold on, you cannot sit down, fold your hands, and start to get a credit card to pay off another credit card. You've done nothing. You cannot ask God for expansion and you're flippantly spending money and there's no account. There can be no blessing from heaven. If you don't remember anything, write this down. God does not bless mess. I'm going to repeat myself again. God does not bless what? Mess. Turn to someone, look them eyeball to eyeball, and say, God does not bless mess. Look at someone behind you and say to them, God does not bless. Someone was looking behind and someone was looking behind. He said, take it out. Let's finish. He said, from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. And then what did he do at the end? He says, throw this useless servant. You see, it's not only me that uses words like that. Now throw this useless servant into utter darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. We spoke last week about how you increase your financial capacity the biblical way that would reflect in your daily living. And the first thing I said is the first I spoke about is you've got to identify ownership. God is the owner. I am a money manager. God owns everything. The rich man owned the money. The servants were money managers. Finances become an idol when we look to that money to bring us to fulfillment that only God can supply. Last week I said, don't confuse your source with the resource. Don't confuse it. God is the provider. Number two, the I that I used was install what? Thank you. See, you've forgotten. Install strong. In fact, I may preach this message till the end of the year. You know, as I cancelled all activities in church and we've gone to prayer, I think I might have to cancel all my sermons. Install what? Structure. Structure is vision. Money stays with those who have vision. A budget gives vision and direction to your spending. I said last week that you need to learn to install structures and do 2 G's. One, you've got to generate an emergency fund. You've got to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in your account, somewhere in savings, not the normal savings, where if anything happens, you do not fall into debt. Number 2, I said you've got to generate a proper insurance cover. They don't preach that in church. And we've ended up with people's mess. Insurance. And for you young ones, I'm going to ask you next week. You must show me. I'm going to go from row to row to row to row. Show me your health insurance. It's cheaper now. You're still young. You don't have any health insurance, but yet every Saturday you're drinking, you're dancing, you're showing nonsense on Instagram. Instead of you sitting down with God and shaking towards God, increasing me. What are you doing? You've got to have a medical insurance. You've got to have a life and critical life insurance. You've got to have that. So if anything happens, you have covered, you have protected the work that you have done. You've got to have a pension pot. You're the only one in your company that opted out of pension. Because you want to use the money for something else. Have you got a pension plan? You've got to have a medical insurance. You've got to have a life and critical illness insurance. You've got to have a pension plan. And if you're over 50, 60, including myself, I haven't done it, but I'm doing it now, I'm speaking, you've got to have a funeral insurance or whatever you call it. The church has gone quiet. Why do we have to be paying for your debt? Hey, let church come together, go me fund. Aren't you ashamed? Or go fund me, sorry. I told you today is not going to be brutal, but it's already becoming difficult, right? Find some. If you're in my age, you want to leave a legacy down for your children. Let me go to number 3, so I don't waste time. Number 3, is initiate faithfulness. What did I say? Faithfulness. Matthew 25:21 says, the master was full of praise. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. You have been what? Let's read it together. Verse 21. The master was... Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. So he first called him faithful. And then he says, you have been faithful. He said, you faithful servant, you have been faithful, because faithfulness increases capacity. Faithfulness increases capacity. Faithfulness is to follow through with a commitment regardless of the difficulty. Meaning that somebody like you have to have a budget and you follow through with that budget. If you've got a plan, find somebody who can help you with your finances that you are committed to. I cannot tell you how many people that I have mentored regarding their finances that are out of debt. And God blesses. I know specifically of a wonderful lady in church that my wife mentored her in getting her out of debt. She was hard on her. I remember a particular lady where I mentored that her water, the water she drinks is 35 pounds a month. I said, my wife mentored this lady, and at that particular time, I don't know how much she was even earning. Was it 20,000 or something like that? She was in debt of God knows what. My wife was on her case. Many of you run away from it. You know, these funny, dirty, nonsense churches that you all go in and pray every single 5 a.m. in the morning. Trust me, this is killing our society. It's laziness. There are practical things churches must do. This is a safe place. You must do it. She mentored her. In fact, she had no access to her account. That's what is called mentoring. You are addicted to spending. You have an addiction. You need to go for financial. We've gone past. For some people, deliverance has gone. They've gone past that. They need therapy. And you know what I've found out, and my wife can bear me out. What I've found out is that if you are accountable, the blessings come. Immediately, as she started to be accountable, as she started to reduce her stuff, as she had hold of her savings, hold of her stuff, before you could say anything, her finances increased. Before you could say anything, she told me she wants to buy a property. We went to one property in Kadere. I said, that's not the place. We went to another property. It was a 1-bedroom. I said, 1 bedroom. I was there. I looked around. 1 bedroom. And the guy who was showing us around, I said, do you have any 2-bedroom? Pastor. I said, shut up. Do you have 2-bedroom? Said yes. We went downstairs. I said 2-bed. That is what we want to buy. She said, I can't afford it. I said, we will afford it. We'll afford it. You will regret this. Without knowing. This is where accountability helps. The difference between the 2-bedroom monthly and the 1-bedroom was just 300 pounds or 200 pounds. I said, go for it. Go for it. I know you're shaking in your boots, but go for it. She went for it. From somebody who was 20,000, 30,000. 30,000. Before you could say anything, she went by faith. She said, Pastor, okay, after I left, okay, I'm getting a bonus. So I've stopped I've delayed them for next month. So she got the bonus, put it down, and she was able to pay the money. Before you know anything, she went to 80,000. Before you know anything, she hit 200,000 income per year. I don't know even what she is on right now. Because that is what God can do when you're faithful in the little. Faithfulness, listen to me, turns mundane into the miraculous. Faithfulness transforms ordinary individuals into dependable achievers. That's what faithfulness is. Now let me talk to the church addicts. Let me speak to you. Faith, because I'm online now. Faith and faithfulness, though they are closely linked, are not the same thing. Yes. Because you can have faith and you can be unfaithful. Faith can get you into church, but faith will not expand your finances because you're unfaithful. Faith made the servant of the prophet to be his servant, but unfaithfulness left debt for his widow and his children. And they were about to take the children as servants because the prophet left a debt. Faith can make you judge. Faith can make you pray. Faith can make you lift your hands. But are you faithful? Faithfulness is the working out of an inner belief. It is our faithfulness is our response to our faith. It is what we do with our faith that makes us faithful. So if by the time you're arguing with me, listen to me. Samson had faith, but he was unfaithful. He had faith. He had the anointing, but he was unfaithful. You can have faith to get the money, but unfaithful with the money. The servant must have had faith to be with the rich man, but he was unfaithful because what the rich man entrusted in his hands, he had faith to get it, but not faith to multiply it. And so there are many faith-filled Christians in church, but faithfulness is far from their habitation. Are we faithful in that small salary? Are we faithful in that limited resources? Are we faithful with that little house we have? Are we faithful with our friends? Are we faithful with our time? Are you faithful in your parents' house? You see, you are not going to buy your property if you are not faithful in taking care of somebody else's property. Hey, you're in your parents' house. You're living there. What do? Have you even brought a builder to come into the house and say, Mom, Dad, I want to just paint the entire house? Are you faithful? I know I may be hard at times, but I'm happy when I see the results, the shoots of it. I went to Ghana on Tuesday. As I entered into the plane, you understand, turned left by God's grace. I just saw this wonderful, wonderful lady that takes care of my wife. And I said, Pastor, and I saw her with her mom. What are you doing? Where are you going? We were in the plane going to Ghana and still asking, where are you going? She said, we're going to Ghana. I said, what are you going to do in Ghana? She said, I'm just taking my mom out for her 65th birthday. Taking my mom out. I like the way you young ones talk. For her 65th, she just wants to treat her, give her something. And I'm like, this is what we're talking about. And this same girl is already in the process of buying our property. And you know the wonderful thing about it is that, Pastor, are you going for that stuff? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I can't go with you and all that kind of stuff. Or no. But here's money. Give it, not on plan. Give it to this lady in Tema who is taking care of these wonderful children. Faithfulness. And yet you're in your parents' house and you are wreaking havoc in the place. Cleaning your bedroom, you're shouting, you're slamming the doors, and yet you want your children to bless you. Don't. Just do. No faithfulness. It is not your property, but it's somebody else's property. Take care of it. Make sure when you give it back to the owner, you've given it back to them in a better shape that they gave it to you. Is that little money that comes to you, are you faithful in it? I was in £720 when I bought my first property. That little small thing, shared ownership, became a great acorn. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. God is going to test us with little before giving us more. I am telling you, I'm not against you preachers. I'm not against you stuff. Hear my heart. But you cannot keep deceiving the people by saying it is their prayers alone that is going to open the window of heaven. No, God says that I have given thee power to possess what? He's given us power. You've got to teach people about financial management. The church is dying because of this lie. Give a seed, sow a seed, and then it will multiply. It is a lie. If it was right, all of us would be rich by now. God is not interested in your money. He's interested in what you do with what he's given you. God will always test us with little. God sometimes, he wants to see what do we do with that little before he will give us a big one. How do I know? Because Jesus, he fed 5,000 men, not to count women. And women have the ratio of 4 to 1. And children, we can multiply 5,000 men. So he fed 20,000 people with only what? 5 loaves and 2 fishes. All the disciples saw it as little. Jesus saw it as something I can multiply. Are you following what I'm saying? Moses had a small rod and he brought great miracles. Gideon, he won with 300 men out of 30,000 that he thought would win the battle. Big doors, they swing on small hinges. It's a little seed of the widow that produced result. So in the book of Luke chapter 16, verse 10 to 12, he said this. He says, he who is faithful in a very little thing is also faithful in much. Trust me, if you're not faithful in the little, you will not be faithful in much. Let me say this to you. Let me say it online. You do not need more money. You need more faithfulness. He says, he who is faithful, Jesus was talking here, not Pastor Tai. He who is faithful in very little things is also faithful in much. And he who is dishonest in a very little thing is also dishonest in much. Therefore, if you have not been faithful in the use of earthly wealth, who will entrust true riches to you? And if you have not been faithful in the use of that earthly wealth, which belongs to another, whether God or man, and of that which you are a trustee, who will give you that which is your own? They gave you a car. Your friend borrowed you a car. When you bring the car back, even if they gave it to you on half tank, bring it back full. Don't wreck it. Don't destroy it. They borrowed you money and suddenly you started to look at them as if the one who borrowed you money is the evil one. And yet you're now coming to church and lift up unholy hands and saying, God, I throw up my hands. Don't throw anything up. We've got to learn to be faithful. Based on these scriptures that we read, it is how we spend money is directly proportional to our faithfulness. You are married and you're hiding money somewhere where the other person is bringing his entire or her entire, before somebody cancels me, bring the entire money to the table. You say your money is our money, my money is my money. What devilish thoughts? What are they teaching? What are you doing? Let me say this to you. It is not you that will suffer. It is the children behind you that are suffering. I grew up in that household. I can tell you for free that we suffered. We the children, we suffered. And you take that which they've entrusted in your hand, you start spending it quietly. Your husband or your wife said, we cannot afford that. You went behind their back and you went to do it. And yet you're asking God to bless you. You need to be faithful in the little thing. Oh, he's crazy. Oh, he's stingy. Why did you marry? You should have known before you stepped into it. Ask for discernment. Ask for God to bless you. Ask for unity. And if you don't have anything else, go and seek advice. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe he's right. Maybe she's wrong. Maybe you're right. 7 years I wanted to change my carpet. My wife refused. Sit down in 7 years. Sit with the white carpet. Bless it. When we had our children, then the white carpet was no more white. So doors opened. But be faithful. We started to scrub the carpet. Use whatever you have. But God wants us to be faithful. And to be faithful, listen to me as I go further on. To be faithful is not so much of your awareness, but what you should beware of. If you're going to be faithful in managing your finances, it's not your awareness of finances. It's more or less, what should I beware of? So how do we become faithful in the resources we have? I want to teach you 4 things you need to beware of so that you can be faithful. Number 1, beware of what I call financial contamination. It's gone quiet now. It's gone quiet. All of you up here, you should be sitting up here permanently. Like, I want you're taking notes. I want these people, Tyler. Some people are just what is he saying? Beware of financial contamination. Oh, just taking notes. Beware of financial. Listen to me. What do I mean by that? Listen, this is where the devil stifles capacity to expand. Beware of using what God has given you to manage other people's foolishness. I thought that would go higher a bit. You cannot get yourself in debt and then expect me to fund that stupidity. 1 Timothy chapters 5 verse 22. It says, don't lay hands suddenly on someone so you will not be a partaker in their sin. One of the biggest things the devil wants to do when he knows you're expanding is that he wants to bring what I call diabolical distraction. You need to be aware that you are good, you are not God. Beware of using the money that God has given you to be contaminated by somebody else's foolishness. How many people have gone into debt because other people put them there? Parents, you need to be careful not to put your children in debt. So you go and call your child, hey, I know I need money, I'm about to die, something like that. Can you just help me take a loan? I will pay you back. Don't do it. Be careful. You're getting married. You told your parents, I cannot afford it. Don't worry, we'll afford it. Go and get this hall. The hall is 15,000, 10,000. You understand? We'll pay it. No. Children, my homies, my young ones, my G's, tell your parents that I will put your name down, give them your information, and give them your credit card as a deposit. Because sometimes we put people in financial debt because we get contaminated by their problems. How many people had a fantastic credit score until they got into a relationship? Bad financial practice can contaminate a generation. Your credit score was fine. Everything was good until you started going out with that fool. And when they do a credit check, they will check you and the house. The guy or the girl, you understand, they took a money or loan using that address. Everything was fine. You should have known that they're foolish with money. You went out with them. The fact that they first took you to a restaurant that you yourself couldn't afford should have put some red flags. But you won't know anyway because you like that. How is it that I will took you out for dinner, and then we crossed the road into Selfridges, and then you bought a bag of 3,000 pounds. Bruv, are you that stupid? Can you not just say, can we go and have a coffee? And then we have a coffee and you say, do you have any investment? What do you do with your money and all that? Why are you interrogating me? No. Is there any other better word for ghost when you ghost someone? Is there another level? Because I will not only ghost you, I will annihilate you. And you're supposed to know that this person just spends money anyhow. And they will contaminate you. You're going out with someone who is in debt and has no idea to clear it. Do you know you're married to someone's financial destiny? And you're sitting in the car. You didn't ask, does he own the car? Is that his car, or are they in debt? The shoe she wore, is it her shoe? Or is there debt? The watch the guy is wearing, where did it come from? The hair that she came for that dinner, is it hers or did she borrow it? Because if she borrowed it, while you're married, she will keep borrowing. And you're contaminated by that. And you know what we do? We'll get into that later. Because the more you associate with people, the more you will get contaminated. The phrase in the Bible, in 2 Samuel 2:15, that says, little foxes that spoil the vine. It comes from the Songs of Solomon. It is used as a metaphor for small, seemingly insignificant problems or flaws that can cause significant damage if left unchecked. Nobody, let me say this to deliver somebody, nobody should guilt trip you into a financial obligation that can destroy your future. How many churches have killed people's financial destiny, bringing them into a business that is not viable, taking money out of them, all in the name of God. May God help you. It's wrong. People have come to me, Pastor, this will be good for your congregation. What is it about? Money. Sorry, I don't do that. I want people to be safe. It could be a good idea, but I don't want it. I don't want to carry the responsibility that when something goes wrong, you will now come to pastor. If you did it by yourself, God bless you. If you come to me, I will have mercy and pray over you. But at least don't say the church. If it's a member of the church, did you come and ask the pastor first before you went into business? Because when it was going well, you didn't come to me. Well, yeah, we need to say the truth, innit? When you get into somebody else's business, you can be contaminated. Achan contaminated the whole of Israel due to unfaithfulness and nearly destroyed the nation. Gehazi's greed and deceit led him to deceive Naaman and Elisha, and that resulted in his own punishment of leprosy and his entire household. Ananias and Sapphira, they were so greedy that they were unfaithful with God, what God gave them, lied to the disciples, and both of them died. I don't know about if they had children, but they died and left nothing behind. Pastor, this is selfishness. How is it? 5 virgins were wise. 5 were foolish. The 5 wise ones, the Bible says they were wise because they refused to allow the foolish one to contaminate them. They said, this oil that we have can only last for me. Because there are some times that the resources that God has given you is for you. Oh, can you borrow me money? I don't have. Do you have the money? No. Why? Because the money you have has a vision. And let me give this to you free of charge. Before somebody says, this pastor is talking nonsense. I'm not against you borrowing money. But make sure that you borrow people money you can let go. Somebody came to me some time ago. I need 5,000 pounds. Can you borrow me some money? No. But I'll try to see what I can do. I got 500 pounds because God laid it on my heart. I don't know if the guy targeted January. Because in January we're fasting, so your heart is open. So be very careful about January. And came to me. I just gave him 500. Says, problem solved. You need 10 other people that God will lay on your heart to do that. Oh, I will pay back. No, don't pay. You don't have given it to you. Don't borrow money you cannot let go. Don't borrow money that will contaminate your spirit. Don't give people money that you will now have to be dealing with unforgiveness because of their stinking attitude that they will have to you when you ask for the money back. Somebody so close to me just recently says, oh, I need to return your money to you. I said, oh, you've forgotten. I said, no, heaven hasn't. Heaven has. The fact that you open your mouth, God has blessed me. Give me my money. Now. Associating with individuals or entities engaged in shady and unethical financial behavior can contaminate your own operation or your reputation. Beware of financial contamination. Don't get contaminated because it will stifle your expansion. Number 2, beware of financial recklessness. What did I say? Beware of what? Shout it loud. Beware of financial recklessness. Biblical financial recklessness is essentially the mismanagement of money in ways that ignores or defy God's guidance. Whether through greed, waste, neglect, or selfish ambition. Listen to me. No budget, reckless spending, getting into debt, and not having any plan to pay it off, living beyond your means, taking unnecessary or unmanageable debt is a true sign of being unfaithful and reckless. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 7 says, the borrower is a slave to the lender. Many of us are reckless because of greed and materialism. Yes, they bought their car. Thank God for that. The car I'm driving out there, 8 years, 10 years. Somebody touched it and said, Pastor, you need to change it. For what? Why? COVID has blessed some of us. We don't need to use it that much anymore. How much is on there? I walked into somebody's car. I said, what's the mileage on this car? He says 120. I said, my car still got life. Why do I want to change for somebody else? What has the car got to give me? It doesn't add to my credibility. I can take the tube and I'm still rich. Have you not seen that millionaires, they use bicycles? Have you seen poor people, they use a Mercedes Benz? They make their watches and their cars to accentuate their foolishness. The credibility is in what is a liability. And we're reckless. We're reckless. The money we spend, how we spend money is reckless. Greed. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10 says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Chasing wealth recklessly can lead to moral and spiritual collapse. Many times we're chasing money. Now, before everybody thinks I'm a saint, I've also fallen to it before. There was a time I went into trading. You know trading? Yeah, trading. I stupidly, underline it, capitalize it, went into it because everybody else was going into it. I was chasing money. It was greed. I lost money. I failed successfully. I lost money. I knelt down here and I cried before God. And God was just looking at me like, keep crying. Because I didn't tell you to do it. I followed people. Follow. You know, when you just follow others. And you know how stupid I was? We were believing God for a child. My wife had just got pregnant after 10 years. And the bank or the trading platform was calling my wife that I'm owing them money. She called me and said, babe, drop the phone. Delete their number. Let me deal with it. And as I was walking, I said, and I'm putting my wife, who is just pregnant, under this. And God said, I didn't tell you to do it. I said, God, I need to feed my family. He said, you didn't trust me to feed your family. He says, I've not called you to business, not called you to trading. My brother-in-law came one day, saw me looking at Bloomberg, Dow Jones, the FTSE 100, and he looked at me and says, Ty, you know you're gambling. I looked at him and said, what's your business? Get thee behind me, devil. And he looked at me. He said, you know, I'm a bank manager. I'm a bank manager. You are gambling. He says, you know what? Before 8 a.m., people have made money. You are just having the remnants. He says, have you not noticed that the FTSE came out, it was 10% lower because people have traded all night. They've got derivatives. They've got programs. They've got stuff. Intellectual first-class people are computing stuff and buying and selling before it even comes to you. In fact, somebody has sold a company and told somebody I'm going to sell the company. Inside trading has gone inside before you woke up. He says you're gambling. I said, but people are doing that. He says, yes, those who are schooled to do that. Those who are called to do that. And when I lost 20,000 pounds, I remember I was in Nigeria. I was sitting behind there and I was palpitating. Money is going. God said, shut it down. He said, shut it down. I said, I'm going to lose money. God said, shut it down before you lose your house. I just told my wife, I said, shut it down because the Wi-Fi here is bad. Shut it down. That's why unity is better. She knew what to do. Shut it down. This is how we're going to do. I said, shut it down. Hey, wait. It's going from red to blue. Shut it down. She said, oh, but if we wait a bit, I shut the thing down. Shut it down. God said, shut it down. I shut it down. I must tell you, I confess to you, ever since then, God said, do not put your hands to any kind of business. I've not bought one single property after that. I've not made any trading after that. I've never gone into any business after that. And I've seen the miraculous hand of God provides for me because He is my source. The rest is resource. Don't let greed bring financial contamination and recklessness. Bluff, please. Don't put your whole family into debt because you're reckless, not listening to your wife that what you're about to do is wrong. I'm the man of the house. You're a good man. Beware. Risky ventures. Proverbs 28 verse 20 says, a faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. Haste and waste are reckless. Did you not see that Jesus, after he fed 5,000, he says, gather the others. What are you doing with your leftovers? Gather the others. Gather the others. It's the money God has given you. Is it supposed to be used for recklessness? Going on holidays, buying bags, buying gadgets, cars. Some of you are unfaithful in the right season. The wedding expense is unfaithfulness. Some of you are unfaithful out of the season. It's not your time. It's not your time. If it's not the time and you don't have the money, please, for God crying out loud, come here, let's get you married and move on. And when you move on, when it's time, you can do it when you have the time. But many of you are copying so many other people that you're reckless with what you have. So after the wedding, you're 70,000 pounds in debt. And what many of you have not accounted for is what could happen after the wedding. I've got a son and daughter who wanted to do their wedding. I think it was 30,000. I only gave them 10,000, including the wedding dress, including the wedding rings, and including the reception. 10,000 in those days. 10,000. Equivalent to these days of like 20, 25,000. They trimmed from 200 to 25. 25 of us came for the wedding. We did the wedding. I excused myself and my wife. Aren't you waiting for the reception? No, that will give you 2 more seats. We went back home. Shortly after the wedding, the guy lost his job. The woman couldn't get any work. Fortunately, they had bought their own property. And all they were doing was, thank you, Pastor. Just thank you, Pastor. It took another 6-7 months before they got a job. And the lady took another 3-4 years before she got a job. But you know what? They were not sent out because they were not reckless initially. After they've come to eat your food, so what? Many of us end up in the white seat afterwards. You'll get that tomorrow. Some of you are not even in church because you went to eat somebody's food yesterday. Oh, why are you not in church? See, you should have sat down. Or you should have done what your mama says. Eat before you go. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Delay your gratification to grow your money tree. Turn to someone and say that to them. Say, delay. I said, turn to someone. I said, say to them, delay your gratification so you can grow your money tree. Delay your gratification. Every non-sacrifice results into a bleak future. Give me 5 more minutes. You can't make poor decisions today and expect to be rich tomorrow. And since you're planning on spending a lot of time in the future, it would be nice to have plenty of money there waiting for you when you arrive. Let me ask you a question. How many years do you really think you have to work? Compared to how many years you will spend in your retirement? Or maybe I should frame it better. How many years are you employable? Because after a certain age, you're not employable anymore. So you were born, before you started working, maybe let's just say 25. By the time you hit 40, 45, you're unemployable. You better sit down. You better plan properly. Maybe you can work to 50. That gives you 25 years. Let's have mercy upon you. You get to 60. That gives you 30 years. 60. People are living till 90. So the rest of the 30 years, what are you going to live on? What are you going to live on? Those who are still working after their 60s, their 70s, some of them are not doing it because of money. They just want to go out in the morning. So if they say they will sack them, say, sack you. I've sacked myself 25 years ago. Some of them are not doing that. Some of them are just doing it just because they want to do it. I want to enjoy my future. You think I will be preaching like this every single Sunday? Bit by bit, I'm hitting my retirement. Bit by bit, I'm handing over because I want to enjoy the rest of my life with my children, with my wife. I'm not coming here with a stick. Dubai is calling. Marrakesh is calling. Portugal is calling. They want me to go to the ends of the world. I'll be preaching the gospel on the plane. But delay your gratification. The ring is not important now. Your investment is important. Listen to me. Every pound is a money seed. Just like a tiny acorn contains the power to go into a mighty tree oak, each pound has the power to go into a mighty money tree. You cannot, listen to me, write it down. You can't grow rich on the money you are wasting now. Invest smartly. Start early. Time in the market usually beats the timing of the market. If you are patient and you're consistent. Even if you buy a property, you are not going to get it now. Think about it. How much would it be to buy a property for investment right now? You spend minimum of 50,000, 60,000 pounds. 50,000, 60,000 pounds. Your mortgage is £1,000. If you're lucky, the rent is going to be £1,500. So you're gaining £500. Out of that £500, you've got to do repairs. Out of that £500, you've got to pay tax. If you're in the 40% bracket, you need to half that. So 500 only brings you down to £250 after tax and after expenses. £250. If you multiply that by 4, that's £1,000. That means £1,000. You multiply that by 12, that's £12,000. So it will take you nothing less than 8, 6, 7 years before you start recouping the money that you initially put down as a deposit. And yet you want to get there and leave quickly. You put money in an investment. I want it now. No, every quick scheme brings quick debt. You got to be patient. You got to invest smartly. So 1, beware of financial contamination. Beware of financial recklessness. Number 3, beware of financial disobedience. This is important. I'm going to finish now. You can only obtain financial redemption and peace by doing it God's way, or financial calamity and sorrow doing it your way. This is where the church doesn't want to hear this. Naaman did it God's way and was healed of leprosy. Jacob did it God's way and stopped deceiving and received a dream from heaven and prospered, even when it didn't make sense. The widow, she obeyed the prophet and did it God's way. She acted on the words of the prophet. She was willing, she was obedient, and she did it God's way. Listen to me, all my homies, my young ones in church, listen. Obedience is your covenant access to abundance. You have heard me preach on expansion over the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks. You've heard me preach about financial expansion. Still yet, you haven't still done your budget. And we're now in the 1st of June. You're supposed to have done your budget for what you will spend in June. But yet you still came into church with your cologne and your perfume. And you're still in debt. You smell of debt. If you do not put on the cologne of obedience. You've got to do this, guys. I know I may be hard on you, but you've got to obey this. Because everybody believes in God for abundance. But how many people are obeying God for abundance? The issue is not whether it makes sense or not. The issue is obedience. You will provoke the workings of the word by obeying the word. You have to obey the word. Listen to me. No salary or knowledge can match an open heaven. It is the windows of heaven that God will open before he opens the pockets of man. When what belongs to God gets to God, what belongs to you comes to you. That's why Proverbs chapter 3 verse 9 to 10, it says, honor the Lord by giving him the first part of all your income. We're asking you, help us with some deaf and dumb and blind children. You're still saying, hey, what about me? Mammon. I preached it last week. He says, he will fill your barns with wheat and barley and overflow your wine vats with the finest of wine. Are you a giver? Our financial seed is not a donation to help the church, the ministers, or pay the church bill. It is a spiritual transaction in worship that provokes a divine intervention for favor over your life. When you obey God and you give unto God, because we cannot teach you about financial expansion if God knows that you are not a giver. Tithing and generosity. And tithing is not what we talk about, 10%. No, forget the 10%. 10% is not the and if you don't give 10%, you're cursed. That rubbish teaching. No, you're not cursed. You're just doing yourself. We're not talking about 10% here. I'm not talking about the tithes. Find out what percentage God wants you to give and just give unto God. Because those are the tests of our faith. They are the key to our increase. If you don't have faith to give to God any of your income during the time of prosperity, you won't have faith for the ravens to feed you during the time of crisis. If you can't give to God when you're prospering, what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to that same God to ask him to bless him when you enter into a time of famine? Because everybody will go through those cycles. The spirit of mammon twists our giving to God. If I do give anything away, I need to have a guarantee on my investment. This erroneous teaching that they taught us to continue to be selfish and continue to play Russian roulette with God and continue to use God as an investment machine is a lie. You give to God, expect 100% return. That is rubbish, nonsense, and an abysmal failure to the integrity of the gospel of Jesus Christ. You give because you love God, period. Not a money transaction. I give because I just love God. I give because I'm helping the work of God. I give because I love what God is doing in this place. I give because God gave me, so I give back. Not because, God, if I give it to you, what is in it for me? And that's how we do our transaction with man. And we want to do the same thing with God. That's why we're not faithful to our partners. Because if I marry you, what is there? What is in there for me? We're so selfish that everything is a transaction. But if we put God first in everything, and you hold nothing back from God, then God will give you what is right. Don't give God what is left. Give him what is right. Don't be stingy to God, because that's mammon. So I need to teach you, I give to God because I love God, not I give to God because I'm expecting him to give back to me. Now, I expect God to bless me, but the motive of my giving is not to make God a transaction. It's the same thing with marriage. The motive of me being married is not to get out of my wife, but to give to my wife. The motive of her getting married to me is to give to me, not to get out of me. That's why there's a symbiotic relationship. Don't get into marriage because it will pay your bills. Don't get into marriage because, if the man is the provider. What if he can't provide? What is going to happen? The ladies went quiet. Let me repeat myself again. What if he can't provide? What if he loses his job? What is going to happen? Because the fact that I got married to you is because I love you. In fact, I will shoulder everything regarding the responsibility of this house until God brings you back on your feet. Because when she married me, she was earning 2,500, 700 pounds. 700 pounds. That was her tax. So if it was a transaction, we would not be where we are. But she didn't know that down the future, because of the seed she told, things will turn around. I love God, that's why I give to him. I love God, that's why I give to him. And I give to him because of obedience. So beware of financial contamination. Beware of financial recklessness. Beware of disobedience. And last one, beware of financial exposure. What do I mean by that? Beware of no protection on your finances. And then we're going to break bread and we're going to close. Listen to this prosperous fool. He was prosperous, but he was foolish. You know why he was foolish? He says, let me expand my barn. Let me increase myself. And let me now retire and rest. The Bible says, this day I will take your life. How does that apply to us? Because it's like some of us, we have a blossoming pension plan. Some of us are economically secure for the rest of our lives. So we know how to trade effectively. We know how to trade in the 21st century. Some of us are really diversifying our income into stocks, bonds, offshore accounts. Some of us, we know how to deploy our money into investments, into properties. We know you have a trust fund for your kids. But you can die by exposure. The prosperous fool, he trusted his wealth. His wealth became his security, and his short-sighted was the key for his short life. Listen to me carefully. When God does not protect it, a business can implode. Sickness can snatch away the very life that gave strength for the business. A foolish decision of a director can plunge you into the unemployment market. Doors become open to satanic attack and affliction. If God does not protect it and he withdraws his health, his strength, and his presence of mind, your degree and your experience will become irrelevant. A car wreck or a natural or physical disaster in your neighborhood can take away your earning power in a jiffy. That's why Psalm 127 verse 1 says, unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. And unless the Lord protects a city, guarding it with the centuries will do no good. Listen to me carefully. There's an enemy called financial sabotage. And these forces, they go into action to make sure that the victim works hard to gather things and then they pour it away. If the enemy attacks your finances, it will paralyze your future. And the enemy has the power base to actually attack your finances. That is why the enemy will fill you with junk out of the protection of God's zone. So you will buy a property and say the church is too far. You will get it married and they will say, I don't like the way they treated us during the wedding, and bam, you're left. You're out of the protection. And he who wanders away from the truth shall remain in the congregation of the dead. You cannot stop death if the spirit behind death is still allowed to work. Do you know in the book of Numbers 23 verse 20, Balak, he hired Balaam to curse the children of Israel. And the children of Israel sat down and did not know that a spiritual warfare was taken on behind them. And he says, behold, I have received a command to bless. He has blessed and I cannot reverse it. So what are you saying, Pastor? Pray. What did I say? Pray. Don't do investments without praying. Don't buy a property without praying. And after you bought the property, pray. After you invest, pray. Remember that money comes from God and goes back to God. Many of you do not understand that there's a spiritual warfare to keep you in a holding pattern. There's a spiritual warfare that says you will not prosper. There's a spiritual warfare in your lineage that says that you will not prosper. Nobody in your lineage passed a certain ceiling of financial competence. And you do not recognize, and you may be sitting at home, that you do not recognize that you need to fight it. Put the camera on my face, my friend. I'm talking to someone at home that you need to pray to pull down financial contamination. Many times the devil has come to destroy your finances because he has set you up to fail. Many of us do not realize that it is God that builds the home. I need you to be able to leave church and say, God, I put my trust in you. When they tell you to wake up on Wednesday, wake up, pray. You wake up by yourself, you pray. No pastor can pray over you. You need to learn to pray over yourself. You need to be able to protect your income, protect your capacity. Don't let foolish decisions rob you of your future. You need to be able to say, God, give me financial wisdom. God, give me understanding. You need to be able to say, my children and all the things I have, I cover it with the blood of Jesus. I speak financial excellence into my home. You need to be on your knees sometimes to battle through a warfare. not just to be dancing all over the place and walking all over the place. You need God in your life. You need Jesus to take control. You need to sit in the secret place of the Most High. You need to abide under the shadow of the Almighty. People will fall on your left and your right by financial calamity. No means shall it come near you. Why? Because God is your succor. God is your strength. And he who kneels before God will stand tall before man.
We'll just keep on praising him, raise him up. Oh yeah, you'll see people taking their place in your love. Oh yeah, as you keep your love. Everybody's good, let's roll. So come on if you're good to go. We don't care if you like it. We'll keep it moving till the night's up. Even if you wanna fight us, we'll shut it down and put the lights up. Oh nah, oh.